all new. AM 1150 WTMP.com.
Alrighty. Tampa Bay. Super Bowl 55 is here.
Live.
And the Porch Talk Radio Show is willing to make a contingency operation plan. Normally, but the whole reason we're called Porch Talk Radio is so we can talk about anything that happened on the porch. Sports is on the docket everywhere in Tampa Bay.
Already.
I actually went downtown last night to see the fireworks on the Buccaneer ship that's in the harbor there. That's
the pirate ship.
Yeah, Buccaneer ship.
Well, all right, whatever.
You know, it's normally the Gasparilla ship, but since everything in Tampa Bay this weekend is Buccaneer, we don't want to buck the trend.
Oh boy, there we go. There we go.
Welcome. This is your host Eddie Adams Jr., your co-host Gabriel Phillips, and our producer Tim Horton. Here doing, I guess this is the Super Bowl 55 version of Porch Talk Radio. So let's get this show started. Bye. Hey, Buccaneers. The Bucks are going to shine.
People going crazy out here with Eddie.
They used to have some kind of crazy Buck song a few years ago. They did have a song, like they had the Houston Oilers had a song, and the Bucks had a song. And
Houston Oilers, they're still playing?
Yeah, they still. Well, they changed the name and moved the team, but the Houston Oilers had a song. The Dolphins had a song. The Bucks had a song.
Steelers.
Who else?
The Steelers.
The Steelers had a song. So.
What was it? The Shuffle? What was it?
No, that was the
Chicago Bears.
The Bears had them a Super Bowl song. So
Did they ever make it?
Yeah, they made it. They made it and won a couple of times. So
2 times. Okay.
Anyway, Tampa Bay. If you want to call in to the show today and be on the show, the call-in number is 813-251-9867. 813-251-9867. If you want to call me after the show, during the week, and I gotta say here, we had a text. I got a text last week from one of my homeboys, somebody from Lake Wales, and I was talking about the way stuff used to be around the old hometown. Everybody got a hometown. So no matter where you go, no matter where you've been, and no matter, what the deal is, you got a hometown. You come from somewhere. And I know a lot of military brats say, oh, yeah, I come from everywhere. But you still were born somewhere. So officially, wherever you were born, whatever hospital, whatever hay station or barn, or, in somebody's house, whatever the deal is, that is your hometown. That I'm just giving you some information that somebody I heard somebody say one time, I don't have a hometown. Yeah, you do. You got a hometown. Just like you got a mother and a father. You may not know who they are. That don't mean you don't have them. Because, see, some people get separated at birth and before birth and all that kind of stuff. So, anyway, it gets complicated. It gets a lot more complicated than we wanted to do on this particular show.
That's right.
So this particular show, if you want to email me, Eddie, EDDIE,
we can do this,
at porchtalkradio.com. Eddie at porchtalkradio.com. You can text me. My cell phone number, Eddie Adams Jr. Cell phone number is 813-312. And as I was saying, I got a homeboy who's from Waverly. So you got
Waverly,
folks,
is that in Florida?
Folks who don't know Central Florida, Polk County, see, Lake Wales is part of a mecca. They're in Polk County, and if you went to Lake Wales High School, you could have very easily been from Waverly, from Froth Proof,
Oh boy.
and Lake Wales, Florida. And then Lake Wales has North Lake Wales, South Lake Wales, West Lake Wales, the metropolis of West Lake Wales.
The metropolis.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we had divisions. We had the rock quarters in Lake Wales, in the black community. And we had those who stayed in the subdivision, and those who stayed across the highway, and the highway was Highway 27.
Mm.
And again, a lot of this stuff it probably don't mean anything if you ain't from the area. But it's a lot of folks over here, and I keep finding out because I get a lot of calls, I get a lot of information after the fact. I live in Tampa. I'm from Lake Wales. I'm from Waverly. I'm from Frostproof. Now Frostproof got their own high school now.
Do they have a street light?
They got a street light. They got stop signs and red lights. So,
Oh my goodness.
They got all that stuff.
That's another metropolis out there.
It used to be a time where they didn't have it. That's why they all came to school in Lake Wales.
Okay.
Babson Park. If you're from Babson Park, there was a time they did not have a high school. They all came to Lake Wales High School. And it happened back in the day that there was a black high school called Roosevelt High, and then the white high school was called Lake Wales High. And of course, in the 60s and the 70s, when they went through integration and segregation and all that kind of stuff, they closed 90% of the black high schools in the state of Florida. So guess what? All the black high schools got closed, and we end up going to the white high school, which was not close. It was not intended to be easy for us to get there because it wasn't intended for us to go there. The black high school was in the middle of the black community, but the white high school was in the middle of the white community. And since we was all segregated, we had about 2 or 3 railroad tracks to cross. Because the more railroad tracks you got to cross, the further you're away from getting to the main white high school.
And Eddie, back when I was growing up in the hood there in inner city Houston, we were bussed out. And at first you kind of complain, but after a while you get into some nice areas. You get to meet some nice people. Not that you don't necessarily have nice people in your hood, but
Yeah.
they're kind of different. But anyway, I actually liked it. I mean, everybody's got their own what they think and feel about that. But for me to get out of my hood and go into a real nice area, into a nice school, it probably helped me along in education in general.
Well, in Lake Wales, you had black and you had white.
Mm-hmm.
You had the black community with several railroad tracks making sure you was confined,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had the white community. So for all intents and purposes, all the white folks, rich, poor, white folks, went to the same high school. Black folks, rich, poor, all went to the same black high school.
Okay.
And then and history, and I've heard a lot of people talking about Black History Month, which is where we are today,
Mm-hmm.
and that's part of what we're going to talk about today. But, how do you make history? History is living. Everybody today is making history. Now, you may not be recording it. You may not have a journal.
Somebody is.
You may not have done something that you think is important or somebody else think is important. But it's a lot of folks who have history and are in history books because someone else wrote the story. Kind of like, what's happening now. Day-to-day living, not many of us are journalists who keep journals of our life and times and all that stuff. And a lot of people just call them diaries. Some people actually wrote in a book something about their life every day.
I think Facebook keeps track of that for us now, Eddie.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. It's been modernized
Mm-hmm.
to where a lot of folks may not recover, but I'm gonna tell you what Facebook does for me. Every couple of days, during the course of a week, they say, "Oh, well, you said this 10 years ago, or you said this 5 years ago, or you took a picture, and this is the picture, and it says, do you want to share? Do you want to just keep it? Us telling you about it,
Share the memory or share the nightmare.
reminding you
Mhm.
about it. So it's history that's being written, and it's history that's being talked about, And for years and years and years, Native Americans, they didn't write history, but they told stories. And a lot of those stories went from generation to generation to generation. And in Africa, they did the same thing. They go from generation to generation to generation in the verbal language itself. And if you think about it, a generation nowadays is pretty much 20 years. So in 20 years, you got kids. In another 20 years, your kids got kids. In another 20 years, your kids' got kids. And if you're talking history, pretty much all you need is one or two of your kids, and everybody had kids, to tell
Well, ain't nothing to do out there.
and keep the story. So, folks, welcome to Black History Month. What we're gonna do, we're gonna do our regular show. We're gonna talk about the stuff we normally talk about and have one of our regular conversations. But we're gonna add to this day what happened on this day.
Okay.
We're gonna add some Black history facts. Some you may know, some you may not know. Because I figure if it's Black History Month, we have to at least do our part. We got to make sure that we name a couple of people you may or may not know, or not name some folks you may or may not know. But the nature of Black History Month is to be informative, and something we try to do here every show, every week anyway. So Black History Month just give us a point to reconcile around, that we're gonna give you some information, and it's about Black folks.
Now, Eddie, why is Black History Month only 1 month?
Black History Month.
Is that why people say that's all you get?
Black History Month is
I'm guessing.
officially every day of the year for all of our history. And if you really believe Black history started before anything else did, because if you believe some of the anthropologists, history started and the Homo sapien stood up first in Africa. I'm just saying, that's what they say. So if human beings first started in Africa, then Black history started in Africa, and it kind of spread through the rest of the world and became this phenomenon we got today. Only in America do we have the nature of Black history being what it is, considering we had the transatlantic slave trade that was responsible for
bringing over the Black people initially, right?
Not just Black folks being in the United States of America, North America, but being in South America, being in the Caribbean, being everywhere except Africa, because there was a point in time in which the entire world traded in Africans, including Africa.
So Africa was the first one to sell out.
No. You got to look at Chinese and a lot of other cultures.
Well, the Irish was thrown in there too now.
That had slaves.
A lot of Irish was thrown in.
So Black folks wasn't so much the first slave. There used to be a time where Black folks in Africa actually had slaves themselves. Because the Egyptians, if you look at some of the statues and the pyramids and some of the stuff that was done in Egypt, there was royal families and hierarchical, beings and establishments, and they had slaves, because that was the time in which the world had slavery.
I haven't heard that on PBS lately. Is there something new?
No. You probably won't hear it on PBS.
I was just wondering.
Because you got to, understand that PBS was about political correctness. And I forgot to give our speech today about us not being the political
that's right.
correct station, a politically correct show.
There we go.
So we're not heavy into being politically correct, but we are heavy into providing information and points of views that may differ from many of the folks who listen. But again, at the end of the day, it's about how we advance the community. And like I said, we're gonna talk a little Black history today, and we're gonna talk some Super Bowl, some football. Like I say, normally we don't spend a lot of time talking it because we got so many sports stations and sports networks and people that's all they do. But again, at the end of the day, you cannot be in Tampa Bay on the air this weekend
and not
do it. You can't. You can't.
Sacrilege.
Yeah, you can't do it. But the biggest game in the history of the sport being tomorrow, because they have never had a hometown football team actually play in the hometown stadium. You see what I'm saying? They have had teams that had Super Bowl games near their hometown, but not in their hometown stadium. So, and we got a caller. So I guess somebody want to break up this conversation.
On sports, come on.
So, welcome to Porch Talk Radio on this Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where are you calling from? And what say you? Hello?
My name is Thomas English here in St. Petersburg. The youth know me as Coach English, also known as Coach.
Hey, Coach.
I just want to throw a tip on you with Africa.
Yes, sir.
Did you know that Africa is named after a white man, Roman Greco, named Scipio Sargentio Africanus?
It could be.
That's where Africa comes from. But the real name before Scipio Sargentio Africanus named that continent of land, Africa, and named the people in that continent Africans, named him after him. It was called Kemet. But here in America, did you know that the first slave master was a black man named Anthony Johnson?
Yes.
Also known as Casa de Negro.
Yes.
Where the Negroes come from.
Right.
That's some history.
After him. He named his slaves after him. I learned it from alcoholic Professor Henry Louis Gates Jr. If you look on one of his programs, Finding Your Roots, you will discover that history.
Wow.
Well, thank you.
I just want to throw that in there.
Thank you very much for
Thank
calling.
you.
Thank you for calling. We appreciate it.
Taking you back to your roots.
Yes, sir. Thank you. The real roots.
There we go.
The real ones.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I think we got some smart people listening.
Yes. The next caller. Welcome to Porch Talk Radio. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello.
This is Adam from Tampa.
Hey, Adam.
Hello, Adam.
All right. You talking about Black History?
Yes, sir.
We've had Black History this year, where we've had the first African American vice president, which is Vice President Kamala Harris, and then we also have had the first Defense Secretary African American, which is Lloyd Austin. So the Biden administration is ushering in some Black history. So that's some important Black history facts. And I love what's happening right now in terms of the reckoning that's happening with the GOP-Q party, where y'all are imploding and there's a civil war, and I'm enjoying every moment of it. I'm going to enjoy more and more of the reckoning, because your party is now the party of MTG and QAnon.
Well, we appreciate you, brother. Again, this is just revenge.
Let me explain something to you, just so you won't have too much fun in that. You know, a lot of the information that you're quoting now about the Republican Party is Democrats trying to influence, the actions, of the Republican Party. The party itself is pretty strong. Matter of fact, it's as strong now as it has ever been. And it's more cohesive now probably than it's ever been. And all of this infighting and some of this other stuff is the same media that has spent 4 years, 5 years trying to get rid of Donald Trump. So again, a lot of the stuff that you guys are saying to yourself, for yourself, is stuff that you guys want to believe. It don't necessarily make it happening. And as I started to show off, one of the first things I say is Black history happens every day. So we are not exclusively saying, that Kamala Harris, wasn't part of history. I'm saying she's part of the history every day. History that has happened in your lifetime. But for all sakes and purposes, as I also said earlier in the show, Black history started on the continent of Africa when the first Homo sapiens stood erect and became knowledgeable or aware of itself, himself, herself, whatever it was, depends on the anthropologist. So again, I'm not taking this point to try to cross-examine what you said. I'm just telling you what you said, has truth to you, but it don't mean anything to us because you said something that we've all of us here know that it's not what you say because of your source of information. We're not holding that against you. We're just making sure the right information get out. The Democrats are the ones saying that Republican Party is imploding and disarray and all that kind of stuff. Because again, all of your news sources are trying to make the battle between us and them. It don't know what's happening with us. It may know what's happening with you, and it's a shade for what's happening on the Democratic side of the process. Because I just heard the show before me, the lady say, "Oh, well, Biden just did 11, executive orders." Well, when actuality he did 48 last week. He had 48 before last week. So however many happens, and someone said his goal is 72. Again, all of this is stuff that's being made. This is history, and Biden said something about Trump's was ruling through dictatorship, through executive order, and he's got 48 already. So I just want to make sure that we all are saying the same thing about dictatorships, and that if you rule through executive order, it is through a dictatorship. I don't care one way or the other because it's not affecting me personally, but there are a lot of people that it will affect and that it have affected and it's going to affect.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for your call and we appreciate it.
But history is an ongoing thing, and
Yeah.
again, Donald Trump had 4 executive orders his first week. Biden hit it at 40. I think it was just at 40 during the first week. 38 or 40, right in there. And back when Trump did his 4, Biden had said, "Oh, this is a dictator," because he knows his policies will not pass the muster to get through Congress. Well, now it's the other side. But Eddie, let's put the humor on, okay? Let's put the humor on.
Yeah.
Let's get funny now, all right? Soft-sided semi-permanent structures. Do you know what that is?
Jello.
No. So during the Trump administration, they had so many people come in, illegal immigrants, that they put up tents.
Mm-hmm.
The Biden administration this week said that they're going to do soft-sided semi-permanent structures instead. It's called tent, folks. I don't care how you spell it. It's a tent. When Trump did it, it was racist and the worst thing on the planet for someone to put somebody in a tent. But when the Biden administration does it, it's soft-sided semi-permanent structure.
Well, that's all in how you name it.
And there's dumb enough people to believe it, Eddie. That's what's crazy.
And what you name it. All right, we got another call. Welcome to Porch Talk Radio on this Super Bowl Saturday. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello.
Yeah, this is Jackson.
Yes, sir.
All right. I want to tell you, Eddie, y'all are real funny because, y'all had talked about before about power.
Yes.
The thing is now the Democrats are in power. So the thing is that you said that when you have the power, you wield it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening is that, the Democrats have the power and they're wielding it, so y'all just might as well get used to it because, y'all sounded, as you always talk about, you don't want to be butthurt. Y'all say y'all ain't butthurt. But I'm hearing Gabriel just whining, talking about the whataboutism, about, when the Trump was in. And
It's just called facts, brother.
The fact is that you're also lost, too, so accept it.
Well, okay. Since you brought up the issue of power and the nature of power is that now. Okay, now you go ahead and cut him off. Anyway, the nature of power is that what you're seeing now. Trump got impeached a couple of weeks ago. He went to Mar-a-Lago.
And it means nothing.
He's at home sleeping in his own bed, and yet the powers that be are still taking taxpayers' energy, money, time, effort. They got the power, and like I said before, when I was explaining how power works, they want to make sure that he knows and that everybody else knows that we are currently in power, and we're going to beat you down into the ground.
We got 4 years for a beatdown.
To the point to where you cannot recover. That's power. And that's what I said when I was talking about this, 2 or 3 months ago when I'm trying to explain to you what power is. All you got to do is watch. You are seeing how power reacts. It's not giving up. It's not letting.
No.
It's not stepping aside. It is pounding and pounding and pounding. But again, it's cyclical. There will come a time,
and that's
when it goes back around, and that's one of the things that Democrats don't ever realize.
No.
When they making decisions and when they
and
doing
changing
stuff,
the rules, Eddie.
that it's cyclical. You're in power now. Give it a couple of years. You may or may not still be in power, and at that point in time, it's always the other guy's fault. Whatever happens to you,
Absolutely.
No, it is your fault, and what it is the way power acts, and power acts the same all over the world. It's humanity. It is man on man, woman on woman, cross-gendered, whatever it is, on cross-gender, whatever it is. The nature of it is you only give, understand, relinquish to a greater power. And how that greater power acts or reacts to you is determined by that greater power, not the lesser.
And Eddie, the Democrats spent 4 years whining, complaining, crying, itching on their station, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC. They spent 4 years. Now it's the other side. So
And it's okay.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what? Now the fact that we have people calling in here repeating the CNN talking points
Yeah.
that Republican Party is imploding. If you paid attention, you would have noticed that actually we just won another seat out of New York. Wasn't that New York?
Yeah.
We just won another. We've won 15 seats in the House of Representatives. That's a big deal. In fact, that's the largest number going back to the 1800s. This is the least out of power that Democrats have been in that House, in the Congress, period.
Right.
So, again, people are just repeating like parrots all that stuff
Right.
from CNN, and the problem is they don't know, and I guess they just don't know, Eddie, like sheeple. They don't know.
Well, the nature of it is that's how they demonstrate what someone has told them. Somebody told them that you are now in power.
Mhm.
It ain't like they assumed it themselves. Now they got somebody's back to stand on, or to sit on, or to ride around on someone else's back. Because again, if you contributed, if you added to, if you were active in the campaign, other than just sitting on your butt listening
Right.
to a radio shows, or watching it on TV, if you was out there in the street making stuff happen, you would feel extra proud, extra glad, extra whatever.
Absolutely.
But I'm gonna tell you, it is people who jump up, scream and shout and yell the loudest, who ain't did a damn thing to make it happen. I'm just telling you.
Oh, Eddie, you're not
I'm
being
being
politically
straight
correct,
frank. I'm
Eddie.
being straight frank
It's
with
not
you.
PC, brother.
All you guys who call into the show, all we did is we did that. Well, I'm gonna tell you, first of all, you ain't did nothing to Eddie Adams Jr. You ain't did nothing to me personally. But what you do is you're showing, because you immediately now, if you was out there in the street protesting, you were signing up voters.
Mhm. There you go.
If you were showing up at the community meetings, community centers,
Part of a solution, not the problem.
If you were making stuff happen, and not just flapping your lips.
We'd have you right here sitting talking to
flapping
us.
your lips. I don't care personally, but I'm just saying, I have a platform, and what I do that you don't do is I have had this platform for 10 years. It's not free.
Mm-mm.
It's work, time, energy, and effort. But for the most part, you're listening to the platform that I have created. And since you're listening, whether you agree or disagree, it's really not about agreeing or disagreeing with me and Gabriel. It's about listening and us putting information out. And I'm gonna just tell you, the nature of what it is I have had people call me. I have people tell me that listening has made changes in their lives. That they are doing some things now that had I not been and keep talking and keep pushing and keep pressing and they keep listening, they would not have been doing. That's why it's important to me. It's important to me because somebody is learning, somebody is listening, and I'm gonna tell you like a teacher once told me, if I keep telling you, and I say it enough, and I say it often enough, even though you may not be actively listening, your subconscious is hearing it, and your subconscious is responding. So that's the important part. And like I said, Porch Talk Radio, the reason it's called Porch Talk Radio is because we can talk about anything people talk about on the porch. And at the porch, there's no barriers, there's no constraints, and you get to talk about sports, politics, religion, the good stuff and the bad stuff, and we do it all right here.
Eddie, you'd be surprised how people walked up to me that know me a little bit and said, I actually listen to your show, and man, I love the information you guys give. I've gotten high fives. I've got people just, I'm talking somewhere and they recognize my voice. Yeah, I've heard that voice before. I said, with a face like this, it's got to be radio, right? They go, oh, yeah, I heard that. That was some great information. So, Eddie, I've gotten it.
Yeah.
And for all my fans that I have listening now that love to hear me every week, I've had a ton that I've actually run across live, and they're happy that they got the information. And a lot of them said, I heard that somewhere, but you confirmed it. And again, folks, we find our information where you find it.
Right.
We find it between Instagram, between Facebook, the websites, Brightbar, Newsmax, Fox News. You can go right there yourself and go confirm it. Oh, look, there it is. Wow. We even, believe it or not, see stuff from CNN float across sometimes, and they call themselves out. So, folks, this is information we bring you. You're welcome to go check it out. And Eddie said it many times. If it ain't right, if something ain't right, you let us know.
Right. And again, I was at a meeting earlier this week. Did you know that the United States of America have not had to buy foreign oil for over 2 years? That not one gallon of gas had to be bought from other countries. And in doing so, we relieved our need to have American sons and daughters die on foreign soil to protect interests of big money oil companies.
Eddie, they just went down the tube. Syria and Iraq are getting our troops right now.
I know they're getting troops because we're now
American bodies being thrown on their
we're
political
now
issues.
turning back to getting foreign oil. So thereby we're obligated to protect those countries. And of course they're not going to negotiate. They're not going to talk with Egypt because somehow Egypt is the face of the West in the East. And so now we're back to having the same conflicts that we've had for hundreds and hundreds of years, because now American money is got to be protected.
Eddie, I thought the Democrat Party was the party of no wars.
Well,
Make love, not peace,
Well,
not war. What was it?
As soon as we send troops into danger, the potential of war heightens. So again, the fact that we just sent American troops to Syria last week, again, this is history because for some reason or another, Donald Trump didn't need our troops in foreign lands fighting to protect American interests, because what he did was he brought the American interests home. He brought the troops and the soldiers home, and we no longer had to defeat other folks in their own land to protect American interests or American business interests. So I'm just saying, and you may agree or disagree. I'm just putting the information out there. If you feel like you need to confirm it, don't go to your traditional news sources. Dig a little deeper, but you will find that we just sent troops to Syria. We was
Eddie, doesn't that cost money?
Spent 3 or 4 years taking troops out, but now we're getting oil from Syria and other Middle Eastern countries again. So we're not independent. We're not oil independent because we're going to put Americans out of work, to make sure that we buy our oil from other countries and send our dollars to other countries to help their economies out.
So they can buy their weapons from Russia?
So they can be emboldened.
Oh, Syria is Russia.
So they can be
forgot
emboldened,
about
by doing what they've done for forever. So again, thank you. At the end of the day, you won. And I'm gonna tell you what somebody said, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we won, and you won. And tell me in 2 years when we do this all again, without the Dominion voting machines and some of the other
Democrats love those, of course. So does socialist countries.
Yeah, hanky panky that went on. See, because I'm gonna tell you something. You won. It didn't matter how you won, but you won. And in 2 years, we'll be able to say the same thing because all of the chicanery, all of the chicanery,
nice,
all of the chicanery that went on this time
that we learned
will
from the
not
Democrats.
happen next time, especially here in the state of Florida because Florida's a Republican state. I hate that you guys hate that, but that's a good thing because our schools are open, a lot of our shops and stores are open, a lot of our first offenders are open, a lot of the media stuff is open, and at the same time, in some states they're not. They're still closed. They're still suffering from the pandemic.
Eddie, I know you read news a lot. I know you listen to it a lot, just like me. I'm always listening to see what I can hear. How many Floridians, I haven't heard any numbers, statistics, or seen any graphs on how many Floridians are leaving to go to New York, Detroit, or California. I've not seen any statistics anywhere that shows that this is such a failing program that's working in the state of Florida that people must leave, like leaving Cuba in some rafts with sharks and just dying out there. I haven't heard people leaving Florida that way. Have you heard that?
No. I hear people complaining, about the government and how bad the government is. But again, they ain't going nowhere. I'm telling you, one of the good things about the United States of America, if you don't like it here, and the grass is green on the other side, and I'm just not talking to black folks, I'm talking to white folks, Hispanic folks, I'm talking to anybody. You always had the opportunity, a free flow of bodies. You can go to any state you think is better than Florida. It's going to be better for you and your family than Florida. But for some reason or another, the tide is constantly flowing our way. So it's not going out, it's coming in.
But Eddie, those people have to be coming from somewhere, and all the statistics and graphs.
Well, they're coming from the Northeast.
But no, that can't be true, Eddie, because if those are Democrat-controlled areas, and all the Democrat policies are in place,
right,
that should be just a fantasy land, just an awesome place. There should be people lined up on the highways coming into those states, Eddie, just traffic control on getting people. It's not happening. Why is that?
Let me tell you something, and this is something that I don't have to say it. You go. At some point in time, decide you want to leave the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the year, the line of cars leaving Florida, if you wanted to do 400 miles an hour, you can do it because it's open highway.
Ain't nothing on 75.
If you look on the other side and see the people
pouring in
at the state line, I'm talking about I-4, I'm talking about I-95, I-75, I-10.
U-Hauls, Eddie.
If you look on the other side of the road where people are coming into the state year round, it's a snail pace. It's like a parking lot.
With U-Hauls.
They're lined up trying to get into this state. So it's something else going on. And I'm going to tell you, I said a long time ago, common sense ain't common. All you got to do is look. Don't listen to me. At some point in time, I know you guys have left the state of Florida. Just look on the other side of when you try to come back into the state of Florida. It's a traffic jam.
But
always.
If all the Democrat policies are in place in Detroit, Chicago, Philadelphia, or Philadelphia, however you want to call it, up in New York and New Jersey, if all the and California, if Oregon just legalized drugs, period.
Yeah.
They have rehab now.
Yeah.
So, but if they've made it such a wonderful place to exist,
Right.
why are the people that have voted those wonderful policies in escaping to come to states like that are run by Republicans, Eddie?
Taxes may be one thing.
Woo!
I'm just throwing it out
Woo!
there. You know. So anyway, let's do on this day. On this
Come
day,
on.
then we can get into some Black history and maybe talk about the Bucks winning the Super Bowl.
Again,
Yeah.
what's the first time?
We only been in one and we won that one. So
Okay.
right now, technically, we're undefeated in Super Bowl.
Woo!
We've been to one and we won that one.
Awesome.
Now tomorrow, considering we got to be considered by many the best Super Bowl quarterback in history.
Yes.
He's been to 10. He's won 6. He may have a chance to win 7 with a new team.
With all those rings, Eddie.
You know,
all those rings. That's
Yeah,
worth some money.
but that's only one guy, you know. Yeah, but now, will this one guy make a difference for us? Because I remember one of the things about the last Super Bowl we was in. We have always been underdogs. I don't think we're gonna go into this. I know we're not going to this Super Bowl as the favorite. The underdog is kind of fits us. It fits us well because we were not the most offensive of teams, and I mean that in a good way. But our defense won the last Super Bowl we was in, and if push come to shove, tomorrow, I pretty much believe the defense will win the game for us if we win.
Well,
If we win, it's going to be because of the defense. It's not going to be because we outscored Kansas City outright. Because if it get to be a shootout, they got the quarterback, young guy, who could throw it sideways.
Well, I think Brady he just brings such a morale boost because he's the one that's been there, done that repeatedly over 6 times. They're like, we bring him. I think the whole team is kind of lifted up morale-wise. Now we'll see if the skills are going to follow.
Well, it's going to be whether the young whippersnapper gunslinger, against the veteran, wildly old guy,
How old is he? 40?
43.
Woo! That's ancient.
But again,
His arm can still throw.
at the end of the day, it's going to be skill set, smartness. It's going to be physical ability, which we all know is on Kansas City's side. But sometimes you got to be smart. You got to outsmart the other guy. Because when people were in the jungles, everything in the jungle wanted to eat you. How we survive?
That's why I stay out of jungles.
How we survive is our brain outsmarting the other animals, the other beings that was there, who was physically stronger than we were. They could run faster, they could jump higher, but we developed spears and arrows and guns and other things that could go faster and injure. Deadly injure. So again, it's gonna be whether or not Brady can take the deadly shots that's gonna hurt the Chiefs. And
If this is going to be his last game, Eddie, he can go for broke.
No, it won't be his last game because he's made it this far. He's got at least one more year left here in Tampa Bay, if not 2. So that's gonna be good. Let me do the on this day thing. Because again, it don't take much to get off on a tangent.
Yep.
And then next thing we know,
Go Bucks.
we missed it and the history and all that kind of stuff. On this day, February the 6th, 1788, Massachusetts became the 6th state to ratify the U.S. Constitution. Okay, I'm sorry. I had a piece of paper in front of the viewer. Okay, we got a caller, and let me go ahead and get this call in before we get off on this next tangent. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello. Yes. Caller, go ahead.
On this day, both of y'all news, you can report that.
Okay, all right, so they gone.
All right, moving on.
Okay, on this day, 1998,
Okay.
February the 6th,
Mm-hmm.
Washington National Airport was renamed for U.S. President Ronald Reagan with the signing of the bill by U.S. President Clinton. So Clinton made Washington National Airport Reagan National
So a
Airport.
white man X'd out the black person to put another white man's name on it. I get it. All right, that's fine. I got it.
I gotta say, all these folks are white. All of them.
Wasn't
Washington.
Booker T?
No, that was George.
Uh,
George Washington. George. That was George Washington. Okay. And
so
Ronald,
three white men are involved in this. Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
Got it, okay.
Next, on this day, 1999, excerpts from White House intern Monica Lewinsky, her videotape
I
testimony.
did not have sex with that woman.
Her videotape testimony were shown to President Clinton's impeachment trial. They were shown at the trial.
I don't like blue after that thing. You know,
Yeah.
not much for blue anymore. Wearing it.
And last but not least, on this day, February the 6th, 2000, the U.S. First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton formally declared that she was a candidate for the U.S. Senate with the seat from New York City.
So she bought it.
From the state of New York.
She was in there, right?
Yeah, she won.
She
was
bought
in-
it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
She made it.
Money talks.
Yeah. So, okay. Black History Month. Did you know?
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to do that.
Come on.
You know, but there's many people who did not know how George Washington Carver invented over 300 products. From peanuts, flour, paste, insulation, paper, wallboard, wood stain, soap, shaving cream, and skin lotion. All of these products was invented and patented by George Washington Carver
Really?
from a peanut. Many of you are familiar with the story of Sarah Breedlove,
Hmm?
aka Madam C.J. Walker. She was the inventor of beauty products and the first woman to become a self-made millionaire, self-made black millionaire in America. And thanks to the Academy Awards nomination of the film Hidden Figures, we now have, and we are
That's a
familiar
great movie.
with the amazing contributions of Katherine Jackson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mary Jackson. I mean, these are a lot of names kids are getting now. Now you're getting in Black history in school, you know. But a lot of this stuff happened, you know, years and years and years ago, during another time and under other circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Inventor and engineer Louis Latimer
Mm-hmm.
was born in Chelsea, Massachusetts on September the 4th, 1848. He collaborated with scientists great and not great, because one of them was Thomas Edison. One of his great inventions was the carbon filament.
Hmm.
It's a vital compound, a vital component of the light bulb. A lot of folks didn't know black folks was involved.
No.
Or a black person was involved in that whole thing. They will talk about Thomas Edison, and that's what I heard about in school.
Mm-hmm.
Did not know a black man helped come up with the carbon filament, which is now still in many light bulbs. And he also was a part of the design for the improvement of the railroad car bathroom. Evidently, that was a big deal.
I guess so. A car bath? I missed it.
Bathroom in trains.
Oh, okay. Car, okay. I'm thinking
The train car.
I'm thinking a
Yeah.
Volvo or something like that.
Yeah. Train car. They had trains, but they didn't have bathrooms on the trains.
Ugh.
And also the air conditioning. He was responsible for the work that went into creating the air conditioner that we now have in our homes today. That was a black man. Now, a lot of us don't know these things, so I'm kind of bringing up and making a point of it, and this is what I'm kind of going to try to
Excellent.
do a lot this month, is bring up some of these names that you guys don't know. So that was Latimer,
Mhm.
Lewis. Now, this is another name some of these teenagers probably have heard of because of what he did. Louis Johnson, the man that gave us the famous water gun.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, he created the Super Soaker. Lonnie wasn't a toy maker. He was actually an aeroscience engineer for NASA.
And he came up with a water gun, Super Soaker.
He came up, engineered a water gun that probably became the most famous water gun.
I had them.
Water
My
gun
kids did.
on the planet. But a lot of folks did not know, he also was part of the United States Air Force, and he worked on the Galileo Jupiter probe and the Mars Observer programs. He also had 40 patents.
My goodness.
And yes, he was also part of the thermoelectric energy conversion program.
Oh, it makes Elon Musk look kind of shabby there.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
And this is the black guy, Lonnie Johnson.
Lonnie Johnson.
And one that many of you guys know, and a lot of folks do get this name. I'm just saying it, because I can. Because what he did was very important. But Charles Drew was a physician, a surgeon, a medical researcher who worked with a team for Red Cross for doing the groundbreaking discoveries around blood transfusion. And then he died because he couldn't get one.
Oh my goodness.
Because they still believe that white blood and black blood was different.
Stupidity runs deep sometimes.
Part of the whole process was they still had black hospitals and white hospitals, and they wouldn't admit him to a white hospital because he needed a blood transfusion, and he died. So I'm not trying to end on a sad note, but
I'll pick it up, Eddie.
But I'm just telling you the nature
I got this.
of how some of this stuff works. Gabriel, go ahead.
All right, a lot of amazing news happening over the last couple of weeks. Let's see here. Wikipedia does the lockdown page on the Never Trumper Caught Grooming Underage Boys. Big Tech is running for cover. Google is helping out clean up the negative reviews from Robinhood, the application that shut day traders down. That's because Robinhood was bought out by the hedge funds. So the tech giant has deleted, Google has deleted nearly 100,000 negative reviews off the app that had a 1-star rating, so they can get bumped up a little bit more. Pelosi announces walls now work and are no longer racist. That was only during the Trump era that worked. President Biden is expected to impose travel ban this past Monday, for non-U.S. citizens traveling to South Africa. So if a white supremacist bans people from coming from South Africa, which mainly black people, there's white in there, that's not racist, folks. You're just confused. It's only if a conservative does it. Let's see here. Joe Biden seeks to surge foreign-born voting population ahead of elections. Now, this is bad news for black and Hispanic people, Eddie. This is really bad news. Joe Biden is looking to surge the numbers for illegal legal immigrants for becoming naturalized citizens, thus be eligible to vote for 22 and 24. So for the black people and Hispanics that were courted by the Democrats, you're no longer be needed. They're going to have to redirect your check somewhere else to help the new people that'll do more what they want done.
Right.
So be aware of that. Jennifer Lopez says men under age 33 are really useless. By all means, let's give a woman about relationship advice from this particular woman that collects engagement rings like Thanos, something like that.
Thanos, yes.
Yeah, that's it. All right.
Yeah, that's from the cartoon, from the comic book.
There you go. Let's see. Jelena Porter, President Biden's newly appointed deputy spokesman for the U.S. State Department, once said this about cops. The largest threat to U.S. national security are cops. Not ISIS, not Russian hackers, not anyone or anything else but cops. And guess what? She's now in charge of them. Governor Whitmer just recently had the award for the Michigan state, the #1 state in the nation with the jobs lost. Way to go. And let's see. Now for the happy note. You ready for the happy note, Eddie?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the happy note
Lay it
now.
on me.
So this guy was getting married, and he didn't realize that his wedding date happened to fall upon Super Bowl day. So he quickly put out an ad. Need a replacement for wedding day. I bought these tickets for $21,500, a pair of them. And unfortunately, I didn't realize it was Super Bowl day. So I need a replacement. You'll find a pretty lady at the Immaculate Conception Church in Orlando. She goes by Beth. She'll be the one in white. Just kind of let her know that you're filling in for me. Thank you.
All right. Way to go. Woo. Way to go. All right. And when I was giving out the stuff, and this is something that not many people know. And the reason I know it, because when I was looking up and researching information on some of these people, and I just thought it was interesting. Lewis Latimer, who I was talking about earlier, also patented the folding chair.
Really?
That metal chair that everybody has in their office, or at the field, at the park, or at their card table. That metal chair was patented by Lewis Latimer, a black man.
And the only thing I found that'll fold faster than that is a politician, Eddie.
There you go. All right, folks. It is glad to be with you. Happy Super Bowl Sunday, tomorrow. Eat, drink, and be merry.
Don't drive.
Go Bucks.
Amen. Go drive. God bless America.
Tampa
Don't
Bay,
drive.
we love you. Until next week, same bat time, same bat station. When we do this all again, have a safe and happy Super Bowl Sunday, and wake up Monday, and we'll do all of this again.
Don't
Bye-bye.
forget the triple mask.
Bye-bye.